And we're back at WBAI 99.5 FM, WBAI.org. And we move from the west of Ireland to the east of Queens. We have Ronnie Arond on the line, who, it's probably a safe bet Ronnie never dragged a 747 into her property, but she does something very special, and I'm glad. Good morning, Ronnie. Thanks for coming on today.
Oh, thank you, Corey.
I wrote you up a couple weeks ago in my character study column on Sundays in the New York Times, and people just love the article because, I think you're a very singular person. I mean, a lot of people think of yoga teachers either as very new age, crunchy type people as a kind of stereotype, or maybe just very Eastern and mystical. And you come off really as neither of those, at first blush, as listeners I'm sure will hear. But when you finally do get down to teaching yoga, I found sitting in on your class, you do have a way of running a very kind of serene, like a deep, kind of almost spiritual class, I guess you would say. I'm not a big yoga person, but
I hope so.
Yeah, tell me. I mean, how did you get into it? I mean, you're a kind of a woman who you're a New York native, and you lived all over New York, and you go back to, you were a nurse in World War II, and then how did you end up teaching yoga, especially at more advanced, in more older, later in life in Queens?
Right. Well, what happened is I was starting to work part-time at the hospital, and most of my nursing was orthopedic nursing. And my husband went to the YMCA and started to take yoga classes, and he tried to encourage me to go. Well, I didn't think it was necessary. I ran around the hospital floors all day, and I thought I had enough movement. But I wasn't able to review him and keep him from pushing me, so I went ahead and went to the class, and it was all right, but I didn't want to quit the first time, so I did go again. And the second session, if ever I knew what an epiphany was, I was in a state that was so special, so unbelievable, and it just became part of me. And I got a group of friends together, and I said, well, let's do a little yoga. Yeah. I started after having been at the Y for a couple of years with a wonderful yoga teacher, and we worked at, she taught at Queens College, and I followed her there, and for a couple of years, and then I decided to work with some friends and see if I could do it. And this goes back a long time, and just became so much a part of me. And when I start a yoga session, nothing else goes on in the world except what's happening in that studio, or I call my sanctum sanctorum.
Right, which is in this case was your basement,
and
right?
A little candle, and no lights.
Right, so you do teach out of your basement at times, and at the Y.
Sanctum Sanctorum.
Right, the Cross Island Y in Belrose. Now, I don't want to be ageism is so prevalent in our culture now. I didn't want to lead with saying you're 93 years old, and you would never know it to meet you or even to take your class. I mean, you're doing all these what do you exercise, the movements that.
Well, I started at the Y teaching synchronized swimming for about 40 years as a volunteer.
40 years.
Yeah, wow. But then when they asked me to teach yoga, I said, well, I'm a registered nurse and a professional, so I would have to go on staff in order to teach, which I've been for about 10 years or so. Mm-hmm. And I'm so rewarded, and just discovered the other day that if I have 10 people in the class, or 20, when I have 10 people in the class, 10 yoga classes are going on at the same time, or 20. Because each one has to be its own instructor.
Right.
To find out what they can do and what they want to do and how to get there.
Now, I mean, do you ever get a reaction from people if they see that you are 93? Would they be inclined not to take the class, or maybe even to take the class because it's worth wonders for you?
So I would be tempted to take the class to see what that teacher can do.
Yeah. Right.
I have no idea. I get wonderful feedbacks.
Right.
And it's just so a part of my life. It's the funniest thing, Corey. When I think about yoga, spontaneously talking to somebody, we started talking about yoga, I find my shoulders go down, I take a deeper breath. Spontaneous. It's become, and I hope that's what happened I tell people when they want to do yoga the least is probably when they need it the most. Mm-hmm. So all these little catchphrases come back to me, and I hope that's what I impart to others.
Right.
But being 93 is amazing because I make it easy and tell everybody I'm 39.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I don't look in the mirror, I'm 39.
Hello, Malachi McCourt here.
Malachi, I worked at BAI many, many thousands of years ago as a volunteer.
You did.
And I love you, and I loved your brother and the whole family. And I'm honored to talk to you.
That's a shock, Ronnie.
It's a great honor to talk to you. Did you ever, I went with my beloved Diana many times, Skripalo. Have you ever been there?
I've been there.
Yeah. And I just...
It's a wonderful place.
It
is. Got my chimes there.
Right. And of course there is Kripalu yoga. Do you do a specific hatha, or do you have a specific...
Well, it's based on the hatha yoga, the union of the body and the mind and the universe.
Yeah.
But I borrow from other teachers.
Of course.
One teacher said when she breathes in and expands the chest, it's like the Venetian blinds blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
Thinking of the ribs. So I borrow all these little phrases, and we make up our own additions. But I try to use the Sanskrit names of the asanas.
Right.
To bring in the wonderful Eastern part of my yoga.
And it gives it a certain authority when you use other languages for some reason.
Oh, absolutely.
And there it be. And do you know Thich Nhat Hanh? Do you?
Oh, Thich Nhat Hanh is one of my idols. I have most of his books.
Yes. You
know what he said? When you're taking a bath, take a bath. Be in the moment.
Yes. Living in the present, that is absolutely Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching, because we don't have anything else but this very moment.
Oh, and I read your book too, by the way.
Oh, did you read? And you
read his brother's book or his book?
No, I think I read both. What was his first book? Ashes?
Angela's
something
Ashes,
like that.
Yes, that was right. Yeah. And mine was Amongst Women.
This is so home.
Yeah.
My background is Jewish, and now we're Unitarian Universalist as well. But sometimes the way I speak, my husband says, "You sure you're not Irish?" So I am partly Irish because I kissed the boy who kissed the Blarney Stone.
Oh, that was that open mouth, or was it?
No. We were, I think, maybe 14 or 16.
Oh,
we didn't know about those things in those days.
So it was not an open mouth policy.
So, Ronnie, now that you mentioned, you met your husband Hank, or Hi, as people call him.
Yeah, well, I say Hank because in the subway when I called him once, I said hi, and half the subway wanted to come with me, so I decided.
Yeah. Well, you guys met as teenagers, right? You've been married a long time.
I was, I guess, 18, and just 17, going to be 18.
And you married before you went off to war?
Yes. I got married while I was still in nurses training school.
You served overseas?
My answer is to that. There was no Verrazano Bridge, so I went by ferry to Staten Island, so I went overseas. Corey, aren't you tired of this?
Well, listen, when you stop telling jokes, they have to call an ambulance, right?
Absolutely. Good.
Yeah, I'm memorizing you. I could probably tell your jokes for you, Ronnie.
I wish you would.
Listen, so Ronnie, is Hi there? Is he around?
Yes.
Oh, I'm laughing like crazy.
Oh, Hi, you've been listening in here? What's going on? I feel like I'm in the White House.
Oh, not that. We don't want to get into that.
So, Hi, do you happen to have your violin, your fiddle around?
No, I don't have a fiddle out. You want me to play some Irish music?
I do, yeah, I do. Can you get it out?
The
drop of a... listen, John, I hadn't been in their house 2 minutes. The guy had his fiddle out. We were playing.
Well, that's because you walked in, saw my piano, lifted the cover, then sat down and played for 20 minutes.
Right. Well, listen, I came for an interview. Stay for the concert.
And you came down and did yoga with us?
Yeah,
got down
Oh,
on the
yeah,
mat?
let me just mention. So this Sanctum Sanctorum... this is like one of these basements that they moved in this house in the 50s, and it hasn't changed a bit. Like, so it's, it's got the, the wood paneling on the wall, like the bar where you had the swinging parties in the old days. It's got this thing hasn't changed. This is like straight, like Ronnie, you said, like a time capsule out of the 50s. And this is where these yoga classes are held. So I just felt like I was in the most kind of Western, place in the world, like kind of a time capsule of 50s America, and Ronnie's doing these asanas from the East. It was amazing in that regard. There we go. Yes.
After you could hear the angels sing.
Oh.
The world seems bright and gay, and when Irish eyes are smiling, sure they steal your heart away.
That's great.
Oh, that's
Ronnie.
great.
He's stealing your thunder here.
I know he can. He's put me together.
Right.
When I was first married, he decided I should learn how to ride a bike. I didn't want to. He forced me. Then it was ice skating. Then, of course, we spent most of our time sailing, and it's all because of him.
Yeah.
Because what I really want, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
I'll keep the secret.
Be quiet. This is a secret.
Yeah.
What I really want to do, I want to sit on a rocking chair with a big box of bonbons and watch TV 25 hours a day. That's really what I want.
So nice.
So, Ronnie, one thing that it took me a couple hours at your home before your friends basically told on you that you guys do this kind of vaudeville-esque
Yes.
little repartee, soft shoe between you and High, right? I mean, and he sings.
Right.
What is the song that he sings to you after you do a little bit of a shtick?
How can I miss you if you don't go away?
Oh, my God.
It's an old barbershop or whatever quartet that my grandson told us, and then we added to it a little bit of an introduction with some other kind of thing, and we pretend that this was what we've done in theater and whatever. We do it for senior centers, temples, churches.
Oh, great.
For our congregation, they always have a cabaret or a talent show.
How about Ronnie? I wanted to ask you. I'm sort of disabled these days, so I'm reduced to chair yoga.
Yes,
And
very
so
good.
Do you
teach? What happens when people? Unfortunately, our class is downstairs at the Y, and we don't have an elevator. So people will say they have trouble coming down, and then they can't get down on the mat. I have chairs so that while we're doing mat yoga, the people on the chair just improvise
and
at the same time.
Yes, well, that's great. And of course, as we know, it's the breathing is the important thing.
The most important thing, pranayama. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good, Malachi. I can't believe I'm talking to you.
Well, I can't believe I'm talking to you.
This is a joy.
Yeah, thank you, love.
Well, Ronnie, do you know that Malachi has a new book out, and it's called Death Need Not Be Fatal, and he writes about death and dying and his life.
I'm going to the library. When I leave here, I'll get it.
And it's a very cheerful book.
I need it.
It'll make you laugh, I trust,
Yeah, well, as I said, I borrow from everybody. The Jehovah's Witnesses came to the door, and I'd stand and chat with them. And the pamphlet said on the first page, "Don't give up." So I cut that out, put that on on the table. I borrow from everybody.
What's the name of your book?
Death Need Not Be Fatal.
I love that.
It used to. I was going to call it in Ireland. When you're close to close to our age. I'm 80, coming on 86. But when you they say that you're in the departure lounge. They say.
Yeah.
In Ireland, So I was going to call it Tales from the Departure Lounge, but they thought it might be about air travel, so we changed it.
Very good.
Death Need Not Be Fatal is the answer now. Is the title now.
You're wonderful.
So
I just feel so a part of your family. What you went through as a baby and a boy, and never mind.
Thank you. Well, listen, we've all had it, and here we are. Still,
back to this is full circle. Back to BAI. I remember going down to the office and being part of it. And I felt so proud. It was the only station I ever had on the radio. So I didn't know, Corey, what station or whatever. So I'm really excited about this.
Oh yeah, well I didn't know you had a background with BAI.
I have
so
a past.
Yeah, you have a past.
I surprise me.
We won't tell Hi about your past. Okay?
No, I started falling in love with boys in kindergarten and never stopped.
You didn't tell him about us, did you?
Oh, no.
Oh, good,
I'll
right.
keep that a
We
secret.
just keep that to ourselves.
When he asked me to marry him, I was very young and very naive,
Yes.
very polite, and I didn't know how to say no.
And
You
he
know
would.
what I told him?
What?
I'd marry him, but I'll only stay with him until I find somebody better. But Maricrone, you're married, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
So I'll have to forget about that.
And me, well, listen, we can yearn for each other.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
You know how I met her?
How did you meet her? Hi.
Well, I met a girl upstate when I was on vacation with my folks. She came down to study nursing at Bethesda Hospital where Ronnie was, and I was going out with this girl. Then she made a double date. Ronnie was on the other side of the double date.
Oh.
Figure that one out.
Oh, how nice.
You know what, Hank, now that we have you there, yesterday was the anniversary of D-Day.
Oh, yes, I remember D-Day when I was on duty at Halloran General at Staten Island.
Right. Hank, what part of the service were you in, and what theater were you in?
Well, no, I didn't go overseas, but I was in Fort Monmouth in the Signal Corps. But when you're in the Army, you're vulnerable. So here's what happened. I was ready to go overseas with a group, a relay system group to communicate secretly. We had a special way of doing it. But all of a sudden, they took half our camp, put them in the infantry, gave them 3 weeks training, and sent them to the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh, my God.
I was not picked. But this is what you're in. When people say you didn't go overseas, oh, you didn't go overseas. But, boy, damn close, and you're always vulnerable. So luck was with us. That's right.
Did you lose many friends in the Battle of the Bulge?
Not that I know of. I didn't. You know, you don't know too many people when you're in a camp. We were, mostly working on equipment and learning how to use it and repair it and stuff like that. But I didn't know of anybody, really.
When I was working as I graduated and the war was going on, I felt very concerned. And then I lost a very, very dear friend of mine, Leonard Bush, and he died. He was killed in Okinawa. And then I went right into the Army. I volunteered, so...
Oh, you were in the Army, too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Army Nurse Corps.
Right. And Hank, did you learn semaphore?
Yeah, I learned semaphore, yeah.
Isn't that strange that with all electronics and everything else, that visual was still there?
Yeah.
Flags.
We'll probably go back to smoke screens someday.
Well, you need blankets.
Right.
Yes, exactly. Oh, you pick up so beautifully. I'm proud of you.
Hi, didn't you talk about you guys communicated along the coast, along the shoreline with beams of light, right? Didn't you say for 12?
Probably.
He's
we
not
sent
on.
our love.
He's not on. Okay.
You know that expression, I send you my love.
Right. Lovely.
Oh, this is wonderful.
But Ronnie, how can people get in touch with you? I mean, is it an open house that people come into your basement, or how does this all work?
Well,
They have
you
to
call me.
bring a
I'll
pastry
let you
with
know
them?
when.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when we have a class, or if you'd like to come and meet me. I have tea, coffee. My favorite is gin and orange juice. I can share that.
The high brings down the Jack Danielson. What is that?
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
With a little ice and water.
Yeah, of course.
Jack
right.
Daniels?
Never straight, right?
Yeah, I slept
So-
with him. What happened, we had a sailing trip, and we hit a storm, and our berth was right next to the liquor cabinet, and the bottles broke and spilled onto the bed. So
We were anchored at night, and in the middle of the night, everything went crazy. So
I always say I slept with Jack Daniels.
Are
The
you?
fumes were amazing.
Hey, the Catskills really had an effect on you.
I'm afraid so.
Oh, that's-
Well, I think it's more New Yorkese humor.
It's
Mixed up with a little Yiddish stuff.
Are you on the pill?
Yeah, fine.
Oh, good, yeah, good, because you never know what might happen, you know. When,
Right. Yeah, I'm
when
so
you have,
active.
When you have gin and
Mentally. You know, there was a program on HBO the other night. If you're not in the obituary, have breakfast. It was fabulous. Carl Reiner, Betty White, you know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
All over
yeah.
90s.
Yeah. Well, when I...
Try to get it. Try to get it. It's a charming program.
When I wake up in the morning, I tell people this. When I wake up in the morning, and if there is not a coffin lid within 3 inches of my nose, I get up. If there is a coffin lid, I don't bother. If I can see the ceiling, I arise. If not, I just stay. And
yeah, I have to jump out of bed because if I stay there, I start thinking this and that and this and that. And then once I'm up, I say to myself, I'm going to have a wonderful day. By tonight, I'll say it was a wonderful day. At the beginning, it always seems like it's a little overwhelming.
That's all we have is one day.
Yeah,
as they say, and also you have a lot of bonbons to think about and watching television for 25 hours, not 24.
Do you think you'd ever venture out to Queens and come and visit?
You'll never know if I can get Sean here.
You just have to ring the bell.
Okay.
We have the address.
Anyway.
You know what, Ronnie? What does a story like this, when it comes out in the Times, where the people that you had not been in touch with in a long time, what was the reaction about having the story in the Times?
Oh, they were delighted. I told you, our friend Dr. Dar, he sent his copy to New Delhi to say these are the people I swim with at the YMCA.
Oh, really?
And I got a message from Bogota, Colombia, that they spread the news there.
They put it on Facebook.
So you're international, Corey.
That's amazing. So it should be said that after yoga, of course, is the spread comes out, right? I mean, the dessert, you got, right? Maybe a cocktail.
Oh, yes, and we have refreshments, ice cream, cookies, fruit. Whatever's available.
That's good. So, I mean, the closest people could really get, they'd probably have to show up at your class at the Cross Island Y in Belrose, Queens, right?
Yeah, they might try that.
I mean, you're not going to give, you don't have a website or anything. I mean, no one's going to just knock at your door uninvited or something, right?
Well, they should call. I might not be home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
But I won't tell them where the hide key is.
Oh. Okay. All right. Well, Ronnie, thanks a lot for coming on. It's always a pleasure. It's never a bore.
Absolutely honored and thrilled, and it's great pleasure. This is a joy.
It was great that you were able to come out of your shell and do the
Yeah,
do the
right.
show.
I'm very timid and very quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, Corey, what I usually ask when you have your character, how did you find her?
How did I find her? Oh, you know, the people from
everybody asks me that. I have no idea, Corey.
You know what it was?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, a year or two ago, someone from the Y had mentioned you. And at that time, I had just written her. I was planning to write up, you know who Tao Porchun Lynch is? Tao, she's like 99 or something. Do you know who Tao is? Anyway, she's somewhat of a famous. She has books out and stuff. You know, a well-known yoga teacher. So I couldn't.
In Westchester, right?
In Westchester, in White Plains. So I had written her up. I was about to write her up. So I said, well, you know, the editor was like, how many, you know, nonagenarian, you know, yoga teachers, you know, can you write up? And I said, okay, so we'll get back to Ronnie later. And you came back from winter in Florida, and we did it.
Yeah. Oh, well. This has been marvelous. I treasure every moment that...
Is this program going to be repeated or something? Or?
Well, you know what, Hank? It's
we
archived.
kind of repeat it every Wednesday in a way.
If you go to WBA.org after the show, about 5 minutes after the show, it'll be up there, and you can download it onto your computer or you can listen back to it.
WBA.org?
Yeah, WBAI.org. And you go to the archives, and we'll be the last show up there. About 10 after 12, it'll be up there, and you'll be able to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, if we want someone else to get it, say, tomorrow or next week.
Yeah. It'll be up for a month or two.
WBA.org?
WBAI.org.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Their
So,
archives.
yeah, it's in the archives.
Thank you.
Ronnie and Hi, thanks a lot. And
Well, Corey.
Namaste. I offer my spirit to you, and I receive your spirit in peace to us and to the whole world.
Namaste.